Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rikakudash, the water, Yahawah, the water, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. For my sins as I cry, call on Yahawah. Bahasham, Yahawashi, Babakshah, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Shalaki, Yahawah, for my sins as I cry, Barakatah, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, the water, Yahawah, for the akim that you supply. The water, Yahawah, for the aqua that comply. Kolo, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Shalom, shalom. It's your brother, Obadiah Yahweh, and coming to you today with a lesson that the Most High put in my spirit to bring out. And I want to just give my salutations and my edification to the Akim that are always out doing the work on the highways and byways and on the unicorn of information, all of the apostles that have been diligently doing this, bringing this truth out, bringing this secret, the sacred word out, the sacred name out, day in, day out, week in, out, year in and year in out. And they have been diligently doing that work along with the elders, the bishops, and all of the men of the Lord. Scattered elect that are around the world, as my brother Malcolm always says, that look like the heathen, but that are not the heathen. I want to say shalom. Okay. We got a good lesson today, and it's going to be very interesting because the way that it has to come out today is going to be quite unique. It's a teaching lesson. It's not a high level lesson. It's a very common sense based type lesson that I believe will bring a lot of edification to the truth in terms of what we all are striving for in terms of pleasing the Most High Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi. And that's what we anticipate trying to do for the most part. I have to get my glasses because I'm going to need them to read. So just bear with me for a minute. You know, Shalaki, give me a minute to go and do that. And then of course I'll be right back with you. We get started here in a few minutes. So Shalaki, give me a minute to grab my glasses because I got to be able to see what I'm doing. So give me a second to do that. Okay, Shalom, I'm back. Just had to get them glasses real quick because I needed them. Okay, all right, we back. The lesson today is, again, it's going to be a very interesting lesson from a very interesting platform that the Most High gave me to present. I imagine you all saw the image that was brought up. The lesson, I'm going to give you the title, then I'm going to talk a little bit about it in the interim to get started. But the title is, again, the clarity of spiritual singularity of Yahawashi Yahawashi, the clarity of spiritual singularity. And I'm going to give you break down a little bit of the lesson in terms of the information about what the singularity would mean to individuals who may not be very familiar with the term, and those of you who are familiar with the term. We're going to definitely talk about how it correlates with everything that's happening in prophecy. Okay, so just bear with me as we get started in that capacity. What am I doing? Okay, I know what I want to do. I'm going to, all right. All right. What I have done is, just so you know, I got my pointer out here. And yes, that's me. And okay, we're going forward. All right, everything's good on that. Got it. I want to bring up something here real quick that I had to present. So just bear with me a minute till I get to it on my thingy here. I'm gonna bring it all up for you. Yeah, go to my channel real quick. All right, get rid of that. Well, I tell you, it's amazing that it's absolutely amazing that the lesson in itself is. All right, here we go. All right, let me load that up. Okay. Singularity. I want to present this much information so you can understand what I'm saying here, because this is very important. Singularity in the spiritual is when the infinity of reality appears in a single point. All spiritual and temporal infinity manifest in one point to hold all creation in total control in Yahweh's self-existing power through his continuous, unlimited developments. Okay? You got that? Singularity in the spiritual is when the infinity of the reality appears in a single point, all spiritual and temporal. That means right here in terms of, as my brother Yaki always said from GMS in Chicago, this evil temporal world, temporal meaning it's temporary here in terms of how the Father set it up for it to be used in the prophecy moving forward in terms of what he's doing, right? As I said here, temporal infinity manifests in one point to hold all creation in total control in Yahweh's self-existing power through his continuous, unlimited development. So that's the definition I had in my when I added the information to the content, so that you get an explanation. Just trying to go forward in terms of as you look at the as you look at the description, okay, and that's important. Now, just a few things to unpack here because we really want to give a good indication. But before we unpack everything, we're going to talk about just a little bit about this this process of the singularity. Now, I know you probably heard it in some places before in terms of mathematical procedures and mathematical equations in terms of physics and things of that nature. Now, again, I'm not going to go into that portion of it, okay? It's not necessary for me to break down a physics turned mathematical equation of time continuums that talk about as all things that are held together come together and become one in itself. We're going to break it down from a spiritual perspective in terms of the scriptures, which is what we need to do. But before we get into that, I want to just talk about a little bit of something that I was pondering and talking about earlier. Right now, we have a lot of things that are happening and going on in reference to the nature of the way that prophecy is moving. Let me express this and say this in this way. All right, I was talking about this earlier. Yahweh, the Father, who designed and set forth prophecy in terms of his Son being, of course, the equivalency in it, because Yahawashi is the spirit of prophecy. We know this, okay? I was looking at this gauge in terms of how the process of prophecy is transcending and moving along, and I was using my hands as a balanced equation in terms of that factor. Now, okay, so if you look at it this way, where you say, okay, on this right hand to you, it's on the right side facing me, but outside me facing you, it will be on this hand. So we're just going to bear with me. All right, right hand, this one here, prophecy. Left hand, this one here, the carnality-based developments that the Father continuously controls. Both sides he always controls. Don't stay with me. I won't lose you here. Now, as prophecy starts to rise, okay, prophecy is rising, and as it's rising, when the Father brought forth the truth in the actuality of everything that was going on and happening, what he did, seemingly from what information I'm receiving, okay, he went on ahead, all right, and okay, hold on a second. I had a little glitch there on my thingy. All right, let me see what I got here. All right, there we go. All right, as I said, okay, as prophecy was rising, what started to happen is, in that sequence of the prophecy rising, the portions of the awakening was starting to catch up. In terms of, when I say the awakening, I'm talking about the truth that's being presented by those who are accurate in the truth, as well as the individuals that believe that they're in the truth and accurate, and then they see the truth. So as prophecy, like say down here, and it starts to rise, Father's pushing prophecy forward. As he pushes prophecy forward, you start seeing the awakening starts to catch up to the prophecy in terms of being able to deliver the truth in the capacity that's necessary for clarity of the singularity that we're building towards. But let me finish. Now, prophecy starts to rise, and it's rising, and it seems like it's going at a pretty steady pace, right? And then all of a sudden, you start seeing the awakening in terms of the truth starting to catch up to the prophecy, to be able to give definitions and give breakdowns and understanding of prophecy as it hits certain points. That's why I always say that we get information and knowledge based on prophecy that is delivered, revealed, and then it's manifested. And then we give the accurate breakdown. Now, what you started to see at this point is the Father said, okay, all right, now he makes the sun stand still. You know that scripture from when Gideon was about to fight against the Hamites, and then, of course, he had to stop the sun in order for the victory. Not to digress. Using that as an analogy of saying, Father didn't stop prophecy. It's going a little slower, but he slowed it down enough that the offering of the truth and the awakening in terms of what's being presented out to the world, with many factions of organizations and individuals who are bringing truth, so to speak, they seemingly are pushing themselves past the prophetic timeline to a degree. Now, this is also very common in terms of how you see the way that religious practitioners of the world, as well as individuals claiming to be in the truth, because what they start doing at this point, when the Father kind of just slows down prophecy a little bit, and then the presentation of the prophetic word and the truth starts to expand, I would say not past prophecy, but they start making predictions. They start doing things in doctrines that they're twisting, and doctrines that they are sort of maneuvering towards their particular, I would say, their organizations, towards their platforms. So they start to talk about various different things equating to the prophecies that are at hand presented, but now they start to add certain things, like they would add obviously names of the Father, the Son that are incorrect. They would add timelines in reference to how they believe things are going to transpire. Never do that. Never put a timeline specifically on anything, because the way the Most High operates in his covert activity, we know that it's going to be revealed, but we don't know the pinpoint time period when it will be revealed. So you get yourself in a lot of trouble when you do that. Now, that's on time point, but there's other factors that are also equated, and they're put out there in the spiritual atmosphere that we are exposed to. Like, for instance, now you see that the individuals in the world are being subjected to what they now consider to be a black JC, a black Jesus Christ. Now, when this is presented, now prophetically, the Father tells us that the truth will be revealed, and all things will be brought, into the light. And then, of course, the dark Jesus, right? Okay, but anyway, not to digress. So you got names of the Father, the Son that are starting to be promulgated out here. You have ways of understanding and distribution of what they believe is truth in terms of what will happen to the selected elected, as well as the 2/3, as well as all these individuals. Now you start seeing these attributes of information that start to expand past the point of what's happening in the prophecy timeline. So as the prophecy timeline is being revealed, you get a lot of I don't know, I don't necessarily want to call them individuals that are incorrect, because a lot of times what is revealed or what is sent, what ends up happening is that in itself, right? That in itself, what it does is it seems to reveal a little bit later on, just like with the name and the image of Yahawashi. Now, what we seem to have happen is, now that image is starting to be presented not as a so-called pale white man, or so to speak, or Edomite, it's now being presented as a dark-skinned, calling them a black person. But you notice they don't actually call him the name he is. And when they do, they use derivatives of names that are still not correct. I don't need to go into all those names. But that's another thing that you start seeing happening. Now, all of this is being presented by the Most High, of course, because he controls all things at all times. And I've always said this. If you don't come from a foundational perspective in a platform to present your information, you're going to be in a situation where you're not doing contrast. You're not saying you can't be effective, but you're not doing the contrast in terms of the way things should lay out. So now what it does is starts to present you in a position where you appear to be in confusion and fear, or confusional fear. You're in a confusional fear statement. Now, of course, I know about this. I know about the scripture that says he hasn't given us a spirit of fear. Now, but he also says to fear him in a reverence capacity. So you have to fear Yahweh in a reverence capacity, and that means that he wants you, me, and all of us to look upon and need him for everything. Now, this is very problematic for a lot of people who claim to be very strong in the truth, and not also being claimed to be strong in the truth, but the claim to be truth bearers, bearers of truth. They have a very hard problem with being humble to the degree where they will depend on Bahasham, Yahawashi for every single little thing that happens. Now, you can tell the tendencies of this process in terms of what is presented to you in truth. For instance, if an individual claims to have the truth, being in the truth, but they still hold on to their profound, I would say, rigid or stringent camp doctrines in ways that it presents themselves as authority figures, but they are using a crutch of the Edomite narratives that are presented in the world, because we're not drawn off of things that are directly out of the spirit in totality, if you understand what I'm saying. Who are you getting your receipts from and backing your receipts through in terms of your validation of information that you present? How is the Father equating those processes through you and to you? Are you staging your validation of your receipts of information based on what the Father said? He wants individuals that seek to worship him in spirit and truth. So if you're going to seek to worship him in spirit and truth, that means your spirit that presents truth has to be educated and has to be mature enough to be able to wait on Yahawashi to give you the proper presentation that doesn't necessarily lean heavy on the offerings that the Edomites have been given to lead people astray. And that's the Father leading them astray. So when you see individuals that are presenting what they claim to be truth, and they keep presenting Jesus Christ or Yahweh or Yeshua and all these things, or saying shalom and all this stuff, they are leaning on Edomite derivative definitions that have been given to them that are a process of leading people in a certain way and necessarily leading them astray. Because if you're not coming straight off of Yahweh as the Father's sacred name, Yahawashi as the Son, and leaning towards the Lashawan Kodash as being the lead in what you do to present, then the Father has you in sort of in a spiritual quandary, because you're starting to do what? You are following a led astray process, even if you're in it, I would say partially, or if you're in it, I don't like to use percentages because that's so fluctuating, but I guess I could. If you're 50% in the truth and 50% fearful that you will say something that you can't back up with led astray Edomite definitional explanation, then you present yourself in a 50-50 position, which is on the fence, and the Father don't do gray areas. So he don't do fence walkers like that. Okay, so the bottom line is, what is your spiritual content of how you are, operating in spirit and truth, worshiping in spirit and truth? Do you get your receipts from Yahawashi, or do you start out with receipts from Yahawashi and then you flip flop into Esav's derivatives of his narratives on how he explains what you consider to be truth? And this is what you saw happening with a lot of the individuals that just don't have the spirit. And the Father was talking to me about it through Yahawashi, and the apostles were bringing out a lot of it. I remember listening to Apostle Gabar, and he was talking about this thing that happened with BOW, Believers of the Way, and he's saying that the young man just doesn't have the spirit in him, which is very true, because he would try to speak in terms of the scriptures, and he would pull scriptures together that just weren't going to work. And then as he tried to meld these scriptures together, he was still operating under the auspice of the covering of a Jesus Christ narrative, as many of them are. So when you have these individuals operating under that auspice of information that's being given to you, what you tend to end up having is this blending, this flip-flop process. This is showing that the Father is not leading you in the paths of righteousness. He's leading you in that process where you are trying to understand how to work out your salvation in fear and trembling, but you're not given the full measure. And Apostle Ramlin used to always say, you have to drink the whole cup, you have to eat the whole book, you have to eat the whole roll. So in order to do that, you have to be more trained in the spirit to do this. Now, why am I saying all this? Because this is the prelude to talking about how the singularity is going to present that opportunity, but what leads up to becoming part of the singularity and understanding the singularity and the clarity of it, because we're going to get to that part of it. So just stay with me. But I just wanted to make sure I brought that out because that's very important to understand because you'll see this happening quite frequently. Now, again, and I'm going to stop once I finish this part. The Father's prophecies are still moving. It's alive. Prophecy is a living thing, so it's alive. So as prophecy is moving, okay, a little bit slower, the Father slowed it down a little bit. As it's moving, you see these jumps in doctrine that start to go out and present themselves as being, we got this, we got that, we know this, you don't know that, this, that, and everything else, and challenging. The Father's doing all of this. And see, you really got to get your mind around it. He's doing all of it at all times, from all agendas, from all angles. He's doing all of it. Now, once you get your mind foundationally around it, he's doing all of this, you won't tend to fall back into precepts that you pull receipts for that seem to accentuate the Edomite narrative of how things are going down in the world. Because that can present confusion to individuals that are called to be elect. They're not going to be completely confused, but coming out of the starting gate, if they hear something that makes it seem as though Esau has some kind of similitude of control that no one's stopping him, or he's going to do this, that, and the third to you, it presents a bit of doctrinal confusion. And we don't want to do that. Now, at some point, the Father is, with this stage of things in terms of the prophecies moving like this a little slower, and then, all of the narratives in terms of what's out there, in terms of the awakening that's being offered, and they're starting to rise past the prophecies. It's not that the prophecies has to catch up with those narratives, because it doesn't. Because the Most High's prophecy is always perfect, true, and it's going to operate exactly the way it's supposed to. Now, at some point, though, prophecy is going to go real fast. It's going to shoot up, and it's going to go. I don't know when, but you can tell the nature of how the Most High operates. 1 minute, he's doing this, and the next minute, slam, he hits it, and then there it goes. I'm going to give you an example of something that I'm going to start off in Scripture. So I'm going to take you there. So I want you to go with me to present the introduction to how we're going to break down the clarity of the spiritual singularity of Bahasham Yahawashi. Okay, so I want y'all to go with me. We're going to go to Job. We're going to start there, and you ought to get. You'll get a good feeling for this when you get behind it. We're going to Job chapter 33. 38. Job 38. Okay, now we all know what happened in terms of the Most High was talking to Job about everything that was going on, and it wasn't a test he was going through. It was a process of showing the power of the Father through the faith that Job had that was perfect, that was never in question. It was a teaching moment for all of us. Job chapter 38, okay? And we're going to start, okay? Where am I going to start at? All right. I want to start right at the top at 1. I'm going to go from 1 to, let's say, around 11. This is what I got, so just bear with me. Now, the reason why I'm starting here, because this is sort of the Father having a conversation with Job about his power in terms of the singularity that he controls. Okay, and again, I'm going to break this down, and I'm going to go into talking about a few things about the carnal version of spirituality, the spiritual version of spirituality, and then of course we're going to break into some heavy scriptures on a lot of this. But let's start here first. Let's read this. This is Yahweh talking with Job, right? After Job had a smart-ass mouth about who controls what and what he should and shouldn't be going through. And verse 1 reads, Then Yahweh answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, Who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? Now, see, when you hear that alone, that right off the bat, the Most High is saying, basically, who the hell do you think you are that you're going to ask me or talk to me about how I'm doing things I'm doing and the way I'm doing it, because you can't explain how it gets done anyway. Now, all of the individuals that talk about what the Most High is going to do to people, for people, about people, and when he does it, you don't know, just like I don't know shit, you don't know shit. Just because you read scripture and just because you have knowledge, it all still comes from the Most High. He put the opportunity in your brain, in my brain, and anyone else's brain, their mouth and their consciousness and whatever, to be able to present what he says he's going to do or he's already done. So anybody that stands on a platform that tries to say that something's going to happen to somebody, you don't have no damn power to do shit, and neither do I. And you can't even control the involuntary functions in your body. You can't tell your body to stop doing something, like your heart to stop beating, your eyes to stop seeing, your brain to stop thinking. You can't do it. So let's let Father talk to us about what we can't do, because he's the singularity. We're not. Okay, check it out. Who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? Now, of course, he's also was talking about Job's friends that were coming to him with a bunch of bullshit about the fact that he must have sinned, he did something wrong. Why else would the Most High God be kicking your ass the way he is, so to speak? Look, don't get offended because I say a few words. You people grew up with stuff like this, and you hear it all the time. If you're on the social media platforms, you hear people saying worse stuff. So if you don't like if I say something that spins you the wrong way, then leave. You don't need to be here listening then, okay? Because if your ears and eyes are so tender and you so sweet, you got a hard time coming when it comes to tribulation. Bigger parts of it, okay? 3, gird up now thy loins. Now pick your, like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me. Okay, answer the Father, right? Where wast thou when I laid the foundation of the earth? Question. Declare if thou hast understanding. 5, who hath laid the measure thereof, if thou knowest? Question. Or who hath stretched the line upon it? Question. Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof? Now, so just those things alone, all those question marks, right now, nobody has an answer for this. Now, this pseudoscience, bold talking Edomites who think they got answers for stuff, none of their stuff is factual. They're always talking theory. And what is theory? Theory is your imagination. That's what theory is. Okay? So it ain't that you think you know. Just like science is to know, but you still think you know. Now, no one can answer the foundations of the earth. When I laid the foundations of the earth, where was your ass at when he laid the foundations of the earth? So where was I at, right? All right, if you have the understanding. Who hath laid the measure thereof? In other words, what did it take to measure out how it was there and the sustainability of it and how much of the volume of it is there, okay? All right. Whereupon are the foundations fastened? In other words, what are they connected to that holds them together? You don't have no answers. I don't, and I know you don't. And the Father's checking people on this. This is how you check people. You notice he said foundations in here, right? That's why he always told me, keep everything foundational, because we can't answer that. And the people who you ask about foundations, they can't give you no answers either. Okay? They can't. All right? That's why he's asking, who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge, right? And he tells you to gird up your loins. Like, come on, you want to start some shit? Answer these questions, okay? You don't know who laid the foundations of the earth. You can't even understand how the stars were put together in the way they were. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's go down a little more. And then he says here, all right, 7, right? When the morning stars sang together and all the sons of Yahweh shouted for joy. Where were you at? Do you control that? Do you have anything to do with that? You want to claim you are one of them, or you want to be one of them. Well, guess what? Can you answer all these questions? Maybe you will be. Maybe some of us will be when we can answer those questions, because we can't answer them right now. But we're trying to work out our salvation in trembling and fear so that we can qualify to answer these questions before the foundation of the world. Okay, 8. Or who shut up the sea with doors when it break forth? In other words, who can stop it, right? In other words, who can shut up the seas? How come you got locations where I've seen this on certain shows where you had seawater that was coming from like the Atlantic Ocean and meet somewhere with the Pacific Ocean and somewhere in between, and there'll be 2 different types of water, and they won't mix with each other. They stop at a line right there. And you're like, what? Why is this water brown and brackish and this water is green and blue and salty? And it's like, who stops that? Who controls that? I mean, please give me a break. All right. Shut up the doors and break forth when they break forth, as if it had issued out of the womb, right? 9, when I made the cloud the garment thereof, and the thick darkness and swaddled band for it, and break up for it my decree place, and set bars and doors, and said, hereunto saith thou, come but no further, and here shall thy proud waves be stayed. This shows you the process of the singularity that the Father has in terms of being able to control all the matter that he invented and created. And that why does this not give you the indication that you being a creation, you don't have no control over anything? You don't. So, and if you do, answer the questions. Okay? He said, hast thou commanded the morning since the days, and caused the day spring to know his place? That is, that it might be take hold of the ends of the earth, that the wicked might be shaken out of it. It is turned as clay to the seal, that they stand as a garment, right? And from the wicked their light is withholden, and the light and the high arm shall be broken, right? Hast thou entered into the spring of the sea, or hast thou walked in the search of the depth? In other words, you don't know how deep they are, and you can't get down to it. Have the gates of death been opened unto thee? Do you know that? Or hast thou seen the doors of the shadows of death? Hast thou perceived the breadth of the earth? Declare it if thou knowest it all, right? Tell him, okay? Where is the way where light dwelleth? Father, he just cutting y'all up. Where is the way that light dwelleth? And as for darkness, where is the place thereof? Now, where does it start? That thou shouldest take it into the bound thereof, and that thou shouldest know the path to the house thereof. Knowest thou it because thou was then born, or because the number of thy days is great? Hast thou entered into the treasures of the snow, or hast thou seen treasures of the hail? See, I could go on and on, but I got other precepts to go. But, again, see, this is the thing. When you think you know something, you really don't know shit. Because I don't know shit, all right? I'm just saying. The only thing I can tell you is whatever he gives me in terms of the time that I ponder my period of praise, worship, and prayer. And it seems like when he allows me to formulate that, this is like a form. It's like a formula. I don't want to disrespect the Father's way of what he wants, but it's like a formula. So when he gives me time to meditate on praise, worship, and prayer through repentance, he gives me these kinds of lessons to bring forth. They're not of my own. I don't never have anything of my own. That's why I can't. He doesn't have me do anything every moment of every second, or every 15, 20, 30 minutes, every day, every 2, every 3. Sometimes I might go a day, 2 days, 3 days, and then it's sort of like the Father gives me lessons in cycles. Sort of the way that he's done things, if you know anything about how he operates in creation. This is why we get a lot confused in reference to respecting the process of what I guess we call honoring and respecting the Sabbath in its capacity of spirit and truth. Why do I say that? Look at the fact that when the Father presented creation, did he present, they say days, okay, but who wrote days in there? Did the Father really put days in there, or did he put cycles in there? Because, and then when I say the difference, there's a difference between the cycles and the days. I know people say, well, it's the same thing. No, it's not. Okay, like for instance, think about the animals in all the creation that the Father operates under. The seasons operate in cycles, and the creation that operates that responds to the seasons, they operate in cycles also. Now the cycles may be from the understanding of a humanistic perspective, try to label it in a day or in days or in nights, right? But you notice that the animals operate in seasonal cycles in terms of how creation was laid out and presented. Like a bear doesn't have a specific day that they go to hibernate. They operate in a seasonal cycle when they go to hibernate, and they know to do it all automatically. It's literally programmed in them, so they know how to do that. The same thing for certain times when the birds have to fly south. They don't pick a damn day. They go when the cycle happens in reference to the time period of the season that moves. Even the Father says, pray that your flight is not during the winter, during the season. Okay, and He also tells you that the time of the end, you can't check it by a day or an hour, but it's by you have to monitor the season for the return of Yahawashi HaMashiach. It doesn't say a day. It doesn't say a month or a week or a year. It says a season. So a season is associated and connected to the way the Father does cycles. The moon has a cycle. The sun has a cycle. The earth has a cycle. The seasons are in cycles. So everything should be built down from that in terms of how the original calendars were made before there was something called a calendar. But most people don't understand this, and they don't go into this from that perspective. So, and someone's going to say, well, no, because the scriptures say he created the earth in 7 days, creation in 7 days. Yeah, but then he also says that a day with the Lord is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as a day. So how do you equate that? Because now that becomes a cycle. He really operates in cycles, but the cycles break down into periods of time. You know what I'm saying? Cycles and periods of time. So a day could be equivalent to a period of time if you want to really speak in terms of how the Father does his creational process. He does it in a cycle, in periods of time, and those periods of time have been at times labeled days. Now, am I saying it's wrong? No, I'm just giving you what he gave me. Now, if you don't like it and you don't have, I have up with that. I take unction to that. Well, fine, but take it up with him. Don't get on me. I'm just a messenger. You want to kill the messenger? I understand. But listen, I'm just telling you. All right, I digress. Get off of that. Okay, let me get back to what I was teaching. We definitely are dealing with the singularity, and of course, but that really didn't digress too much, because that is part of the singularity process in terms of everything that operates in a cycle capacity. Is all unified. It's a very unified process that happens over and over again. When this equinox, when the spring equinox comes, certain flowers and certain things come up out of the ground that only come up during that time of year. It's really, think about it. And I thought about it at times. You come outside and during the Father's spring equinox, when everything comes back to life, and these tulips come up out of the ground in certain areas. Nobody planted them there. Where'd they come from? And why do they come up every year at the same cycle, the same period of time, and they bloom and they're so beautiful? And then people say, oh, wow, spring's here. Look, there goes those lilies and those tulips that come up out of the ground like they normally do. So even if you dig down to try to find the bulbs and stuff and pull them out of the dirt, why did they come up somewhere near the same place where you pulled them up, where you dug them up? See, this is what I'm saying. You got to understand the singularity of the Father in terms of how his cohesiveness covers and controls everything. There's no limitations to how he operates. Okay, let's get the next. Let's go to the next precept in terms of bringing this forward. As you said, Job. I had to go with Job 38, 1 through 11, and I went a little further because that's what he had me do. But now what I want to do is I'm gonna go to one of the introductions to this lesson, also in the favorite scriptures that I want to go to. I'm going to 1 John chapter 3. Okay, and we use this um, quite a bit in terms of when we present information about what we yearn for in terms of what our deliverance and salvation will be at a point when Yahawashi is actually in our vision and we can see him and he's right here present to us and what we'll be. Well, let's just read it. 1 John chapter 3, and we're going to start at verse 2. Beloved, now are we the sons of Yahweh, and it doeth not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when we shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. Right? Right? So that's kind of telling you about the process of explaining the introduction of Yahawashi coming back the second time, and those that are pre-selected and selected to be with him will be like he is. Now, does that mean you're going to be exactly at the same level of power that Yahawashi is? Come on, don't be stupid. Don't be ridiculous. No, you're not going to be at the same level of power that Yahawashi has. Now, certain individuals are predetermined and pre-selected from the foundation of the world to have a certain amount of disciplined spiritual power. You notice I said disciplined spiritual power. And they will be predetermined and pre-selected before the foundation of the world to have that. No one's getting willy-nilly spiritual power and do whatever the hell they want to do. That ain't happening. And you can't show me in scriptures where it says you're going to be able to do whatever you want to do with it. You're going to do what you are selected and predetermined to do with it in terms of kicking Edomite tail or whatever else you got to do, or whatever else you will do that will be within a righteous confines of how it operates. Because none of the angels that are in heaven who also have forms of spiritual power now do anything out of line. They don't. They can't. They are completely in order. And anyone that gets spiritual power is also going to be in order. So seeing him as he is when he comes here is very important. Why? Because this is what we yearn for. This is what we learn for. This is why you're here to pass that portion of the process of cleansing, purification, so that you can earn that position so that you can honor that position that you've been pre-selected to have, to already have when you get to that point. I don't believe that you can earn a position that you're not predetermined for already before the foundation of the world. But you can be in a position to honor it and do it in a corrective way like the angels do. All right. So let's make sure we understand that. All right. Okay. Because say, as he is. Now, if I read 3, it'll say, and every man that hath this hope in him purifieth himself, even as he is pure. You see what I'm saying? Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law. Right? And ye know that he was manifest to take away our sin from the past, and in him is no sin. Whosoever abideth in him sinneth not. Whosoever sinneth hath not seen him, neither know him. All right? So basically, what the Father is telling you is, in the process of the singularity, all these attributes are turned up in you, just like when you get the law written in your inward parts. Okay, we always talk about that scripture as well. So it's important to understand that manifestation of the truth as it's being brought forward. Because what? Because all souls belong to the Most High. That's Ezekiel 18:4, right? All souls belong to him. Everything that he created, he controls at all times. There's nothing that Bahasham Yahawashi has created that is not under his complete control. And if you say that it's not, and you believe that he does not control everything that he invented and had Yahawashi and the angels create, then you're not in the truth, okay? And quite frankly, you're either spiritually blocked in a very heavy way, or you're not part of this, and you were predestined to not be part of this and made that way, because you're saying that the Most High is not all powerful. And I don't want to be next to you when you have to voice that kind of idiosyncrasy. Even if the Most High is putting you through that process, I don't want to be around you when you're doing that. Just saying. Okay. Okay. Let's go to the next precept. Okay. I'm going to First Chronicles. First Chronicles 29:11. Okay, so go with me to First Chronies, and we're going First Chronicles 29. All right, First Chronicles 29:11. Thine, O Yahweh, is the greatness and the power, and the glory, power, and the victory, power, and the majesty, for all that is in the heavens and in the earth is thine. Thine is the kingdom, O Yahweh, and thou art exalted as head above all. That is a way of giving you the clarity and understanding of the singularity in terms of sort of, I would say, like in layman's terms, because you can't not understand that, because each one named here is everything. It's not everything, but it's all of what you can understand, that he is complete control of all things. Now, if you can't relate to that, then I don't know what to tell you, because it would be at a point where it's not for you. In Genesis, right? Genesis is important because the clarity of the singularity is presented throughout the whole entire book of Genesis, all right? In terms of how Father's showing you how he put it all, he invented it all and had it all done. And you notice when everything was done for this level of creation here on this earth, he said it was good. And also, you remember, Yahawashi said that none is good but the Father. So what good is he talking about? Is it good at the level of what you and I think is good? No, his good transcends something we don't understand. That's why in the Father's love, we don't understand his creational love for all his creation. Why do I say that? Because we say, like, I know I've said it many times, and I'm starting to get a different a different level of understanding of that perspective when the Father says that he has hate, and the hate that he has. Okay, but let me ask you this. When he invented everything, and he had Yahawashi and the angels create everything, and he said it was good, there are things within what all was created, including Edomites and all the way down to termites, all right, or whatever, that people can say that they hate, right? But they have a purpose. So the Father has a purpose for the hate that he created in love, in terms of the creational love process that he invented. You heard what I said, that is brought into existence. I'll try to say that for you again. The Father has a creational love for all that he invented, that he gave to Yahawashi and the angels to create and bring into existence, that has a purpose, that has something that we consider he hates it, but he created it. And he said everything he created was good. So, you've got a lot of things that you could construe as something that would not be beneficial for you. And you could say you hate them, but they were created by the Father. It's a form of matter and substance that he has a purpose for it to perform. Certain insects, certain animals, vermin, rats, whatever you want to call it, they all have purpose. Now, some people hate these things. Just like some people hate certain types of creation in humans that the Father created, but he created their spirits in love because they were created. If you can receive this, everything he created, he has a form of love for it because he created it, and he created it for the purpose that it will participate in and operate in. So we could say, I hate what Yahweh hates, but you can't love it the way he loves it. Think about it. Even though he created it all. So, because I remember I was listening to, I think it was Apostle Ramland, if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. He had said that when he was doing a lesson on the Edomites in terms of them getting their punishment and going through the process of prophecy, and at the end, who all gets to go into heaven and what's their status, and that at the end of the process in their status and their completion, the nations go back to the lands and things in reference to where they will be and how they will operate. And then he talked about the fact that, which is true and it's written, that the Edomites will be eliminated from existence in terms of what existence? Okay, so if they're eliminated from existence, what existence level are they eliminated from? Are they eliminated from existence of our operation in terms of being around us in the new covenant, new kingdom, not being part of the nations that have land that are out here on the earth and doing what they're doing? So where do they go? So the question that the Father is presenting is, do you know? Like when he said to Job, where does the spirit of the Edomites go when their purpose is complete in reference to the new covenant, the new kingdom? Where do they go? Well, the answer that I've gotten, now, like I said, I'm no authority on this and I don't know that, but this is as best as I've gotten from Yahawashi, is that the Father will absorb the spirits that he created back into his essence, because he is that spirit who encompasses all creation, which is continuous. So they may not have a standard and purpose to still be around creation that he has operating in a different plane or a different realm, but they get absorbed back into the energy and the creation and spirit that the Father is, and that he is pure creation. So that's all I got. I can't go any further than that because that's all I know. And when does that happen? Well, they said 1,000 years they have to correct things that they were purposely made to do. They were purposely made to destroy, and now they're going to be purposely made to put back what was destroyed, and then Father handles that from there. So I don't know. So just to give you that insight, that's part of the singularity process of absorbing those spirits back into his essence, which brings a circle of that singularity that goes right back to the beginning of existence. So, just to bring that out to you. So in Genesis chapter 1, I was down here at 26 through 31 in Genesis chapter 1, because that was part of the where most of us know how this works. The Father said through Yahawashi and the angels, and Yahawashi said, let us, Yahawashi and the angels, make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So Yahweh created man in his own image. In the image of Yahweh created he him. Male and female created he them. So that throws out the single Adam and Eve crap. So we don't have to worry about that. So we'll get past that. Keep moving. Singularity is what we're talking and reaching for. 28. And Yahweh blessed them, not just 1 and 2. And Yahweh said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. Now before I go past that in terms of replenishing the earth part, Yahweh said, be fruitful and multiply. That's part of the singularity process, because in order for something to become in the stasis of a singularity capacity, there has to be enough of it for it to coagulate, coagulate and to create and to become a singularity. Singularity has to have something to become singularity. That's why it's singularity, not just single, okay, by itself, okay? And when it goes to singularity, it doesn't mean that there's only one left. Don't get it confused. That's not how it works. Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. Now, what does the word replenish mean? That means that it had to have been filled before to put it back, right? Okay, if I said I have a bowl of fruit and now it's empty, could you replenish it? That means you're going to put some fruit back in a bowl that I've had fruit in before. So Most High is saying replenish the earth, right? And subdue it. Now, what does subdue it mean? It doesn't mean what Edomites think it means in terms of stuff that's created, take it apart, see how it works, and see if you can put it back together. That's destroying something. Subdue it means to understand how to operate with it. This is what the Father's saying. Understand how to properly operate with it. That's the process of subduing he's talking about. And also it's not subjection, like you're going to take advantage and hurt it, like Edomites have been trained and brained and made to do, but to subdue in a method of understanding how to manage it with righteousness and respect. That's the subdue that he's talking about. Subdue it and have dominion over it. When you have dominion over something, it's in the process of subduing is understanding it, respecting it, and operating with it in its natural order, and then having dominion, meaning to respect it in a way that you don't affect the way that it continues to flourish and operate. Dominion over something means you're supposed to have the control and power to understand not to affect the natural order of the way it operates, not to take it down and hurt it. They see the wicked think in terms of dominion and war and taking over something. No, dominion means to operate properly with something that moves in its natural order and status and stasis, and allow it to continue to do that without you interfering with it in the natural way that it operates. That's the only dominion he's speaking about here. Not doing something stupid and trying to take something apart and can't put it back together. Okay, over the fish of the sea, which you see right now, who is doing this? Who is the wicked? That's one of the questions that people should always ask. Who is the righteous and who is the wicked? And it's really simple to say, just look at what's happening to the things that are wrong. Whose hand is in it? Now, we know the Father controls absolutely everything, and if he puppetized these devils to do this stuff, there's a purpose behind it that's further on through prophecy, okay? Now, fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Now, he gave this to us, and we would not respect what he had given to us based on the process he was going to take us through to get back to a state of perfection. And this is why we're in the condition we are, trying to get back to that now. 29, and Yahweh said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed. See, now I'm not going to go into the dietary things about why we're supposed to be eating things only that are beneficial to our health. We all know and can see how it works, okay? The herb that's beneficial to your health, right? Bearing seed, which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of the tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat. Now, of course, just quickly, the seed that the herb that bears for your healing and for your wellness, the wicked take it and they want to monetize and use a monetized platform to utilize the ability of the herb that is naturally for the healing of you as a creation. And what they do is they corrupt it because they take something that's organic and they make it synthetic, and it's inorganic. Now, once it becomes inorganic or synthetic, it fights against the organic and the natural order of how your body functions and operates. So therefore, it's going to take your body off balance, and then your body becomes sick. That's why if you notice every single particular type of medicine that they provide in the world system that's under the puppetized Edomite control, if it's going to try to address one particular issue that you have with your health, it causes 10, 15 other problems with other areas of your body and your metabolism. And so you get one thing and it's like, okay, well, I'm going to take this for this, but then it's going to have 5 other symptoms that kill particular organs and processes within your body. See, that's not the way you use herb from the field. And the same thing for meat. The meat of the seed is because your body operates from the way that the natural order of the earth has been created for you to live in. You know, you notice that people eat steak and they eat cows. They eat the meat of a cow or a bull. But what do they eat? They eat herb. They eat the grass. But they get big, strong, and grow beyond that. Look at the gorilla. They eat same thing, vegetables, leaves, and fruit. They don't eat no meat, but they're the biggest, strongest things that you have out there. Elephants, things like this. Common sense. But they have the most comparison to the properties of health, strength, and meat, but they don't eat any meat. Think about it. Anyway, not to digress. Keep reading. All right. 30. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat, and it was so. See, so he gave them green herb, and they're eating it, and they're doing what they're supposed to do in cycles. And what do? We want to eat them why can't we eat something similar to what they eat? Anyway, 31. And Yahweh saw everything that he had made. Now, when he says had made, he invented it, and he had Yahawashi make it, okay? And behold, it was very good. Singularity. And the evening and the morning was the 6th day. Now, as I said, who put that in there? Because the evening and the morning is a cycle. That's a cycle, right? That's something that's moving, like his truth and his word, right? Anyway, not to digress. It was very good. The very good is implication of the singularity, because that's what happens when the singularity becomes what it is. Okay? All right, now, before I go too far with the rest of my scriptures, let me give you some of my definitions that I had put down in terms of my notes, in terms of the thoughts that he gave me in reference to how singularity works out through carnality, as well as through spirituality. First, carnal point. A carnal point is singularity, right? A point at which a function takes an infinitive value, especially in space-time, when matter is infinitively dense, as at the center of a black hole. Now, that's, like I said, I'm not going to go into the mathematical definitions of physics from that. I mean, I had that in school, but I'm not going down that road, all right? So don't take me there. And follow Yahawashi, call Yahawashi. A point at which a function, okay, life, takes an infinitive value. Now, when something takes an infinitive value from a temporal perspective, it is going through a cycle. It's going through a cycle that is built towards predestination, regeneration. This is what you're drawing towards for singularity, especially in space-time when matter is infinitively dense as the center of a black hole. That's one carnal. Now let me finish. Okay, the next carnal definition. Once humans, right? Sloppy. All right, what I got here? Forgive me. All right. Once humans think to create intelligence greater than their own, there will be a technological and social transition, knotted space-time continuum. Let me read it again, because I know you probably, you people go, what is he saying? All right. Once humans think to create intellectual intelligence, right, greater than their own, like with Elon Musk and other demons, right, who would think they got something going on, all right, greater than their own. How could you do that? You can't create intellectual intelligence greater than Yahawashi. Can't do it, but they think they can. All right, greater than their own, there will be a technological and social transition, knotted, right? It says knotted space-time continuum. A space-time continuum is what they call their intersection of affecting something that's prophetic that they believe they can pseudoscience change, but they can't. But that's what they think they can do. Okay, just wanted to bring that. Now that's from the carnal perspective. All right, so just wanted you to know that that's still controlled by Yahweh. That's how everything is. All right, spiritual. Singularity in the spirit is when the infinity of reality appears in a single point. All spiritual and temporal infinite manifestations, one point to hold all creation in total control in self-existing in a continuous development. That's what's in my added definition, as you see how that works. Okay, now the eternal, all right, is because this is the spiritual side, the eternal presence from which all things arise, exist, and return. Again, the spirituality of the singularity, the eternal presence from which all things arise, exist, and return. And who controls all that? Yahweh, the Father, through Yahawashi. Now, again, spiritual singularity, right? The spiritual singularity will coincide with the second coming of Yahawashi, Hamashiach, is when Yahawashi appears, that we beloved now one, right? We, the sons of Yahweh, the sons of Yahweh, and it doeth not know yet what we shall be until we see him. And of course, that was 1 John 3, 2 and 1. Now, everyone that is called by his name, right? We're going to go to my next precept, right, is Isaiah. Shalaki. Okay, we ain't got very much far to go. We getting there. We're doing good. We're doing good. We're going to Isaiah 43:7. So go with me to Isaiah 43:7. All right, we're getting there. Isaiah 43. Everyone that is called by my name, for I have created him for my glory. I have formed him, yea, I have made him. Okay? So the Most High is saying there, and he's letting you know that he made us for his purpose, and his purpose is for us to be cleansed, purified, and brought back to his realm for a continuous infinitive development as we grow through creation, and we will reach whatever ceiling he's made for our manifestation of our spiritual beings and our essence. And that's where we'll be. We won't exceed Yahawashi, and we won't exceed the Father. No way possible. But you will be very complete, and you will be very satisfied with the level of infinitive creational process that you will be part of. There's no question about that at all. Okay. I'm going to Proverbs 16:4. And then I got a few more precepts, right? Okay, so go with me. Proverbs 16:4. Yahweh hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. So We already know that that's a fact because we see this happening right now. And during the beginning of the commentary, I was explaining to you that when that process happens, where the father, because you see what he's doing with the how he's using his covert activity. He's slowing down the prophecy just a little bit, and then the accentuation of all the doctrines of various different understandings that mixed with doctrines of devils that are leading various individuals astray, even those that are claiming to be in the truth, but they see the truth, but they still running JC and Christ and all kinds of other derivatives. They are in that process of being led astray. But you notice something. When the father decides that, he going to just break loose and cut everything off, what will be their status? Who will they lean towards? Will they lean completely to him? If that's the case, you need to be doing it. You need to already have been doing it, because he wants total submission. That's right. Father wants total submission. Every little teeny weeny eeny beeny thing that you do, that you want to do, that you have to do, he wants you to lean and depend on him for it. Now you probably say, "Oh, well, he people come with that cliche. What was that cliche? The Lord helps those who help themselves," or some shit like that. See, that people be making up some dumb shit. No, he controls absolutely everything. And it ain't about that. You fall in line with following the clues to solve the process of why you're here. And if you're a very good clue solver, and you can get closer to your salvation through fear and trembling, you will process things right, and you will move in the direction he needs you to move in, because you'll be doing that correctly. And so that's why he made you for that purpose, and he made the wicked for their purpose. Okay. So just don't want to I don't want to digress too far on that. Okay. The next precept we're going to is Ephesians. So go with me. All right. We're going to Ephesians, and I got Ephesians chapter 4, and I had 6. Says, all right, one power, one Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. Who is the you in all that he's in? Is it the vessels of wrath fitted for destruction? Yeah, he's in there because he's fitted them for destruction. Yes, he counted the nations, other nations of the world, as though they are no less than a drop that falleth from a vessel or spittle, but he still created the drop that falleth from a vessel and that are spittle. And he created them for a purpose, so they would do exactly that. Okay, so his level of understanding and love, as I said before, is beyond what you and I can comprehend in terms of why he created them, because he told you he created everything for his purpose, and they're performing the purpose that they have to perform, and they can't get away from that. All right. So is it your obligation to think that you can supersede his understanding in terms of how you present truth? Well, you need to think about whether or not you should be even trying to do that, because everything he's doing, you should be completely okay with it from all positions. If he's doing stuff to people that he created in whatever way he wants to do it to them, whatever way he wants to address them or present them, you should not have a problem with that. Because he controls all things. All things. Get it in your brain. Praise, worship, and pray for some release, so that your blindness can be lifted a little bit, so you can understand he controls all things. I ain't going back into that right away. I've already hit y'all up enough on that. Y'all know better. So I read Ephesians 4 and 6, as he says, one power and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all you creations. He's dealing with you. He's dealing with everything. Don't ever say he ain't dealing with somebody. If you want to say he ain't dealing with somebody, break down the description of the attribute of what he's not dealing with them in terms of truth. But he's controlling absolutely everything. Don't sound stupid. and just say, oh, the Most High ain't dealing. Yes, he is dealing with that. He got a left-hand side and a right-hand side. He's doing both. And if he got somebody over here doing some seriously whacked out dumb shit, he's doing that with them. And if he got someone over here that's on the right that's doing something that's righteously good and teaching and edifying and bringing it out, he's doing that too. It ain't nothing he ain't controlling. And if you say he ain't doing that, then what? Then he ain't all powerful, right? Then what? They just doing whatever they want? Please, come on, please don't get me started, all right? Please don't get me started. All right. All right. That was Ephesians. Okay. Now I'm going to 1 Timothy. Go with me. All right. I got to get through my precepts here. All right. So just bear with me. All right. It's going to take a minute, or a little more than a minute, Shalaki. 1 Timothy, Shalaki, chapter 3. 1 Timothy chapter 3. And I got 16. All right. 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16. All right. And it reads, and without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness. Power was manifest in the flesh, justified in the spirit, seen of angels, preached unto you the Gentiles, talking about the Hellenista, right? The Gentiles, the Israelites, foreigners, and the people who think they Gentiles, believed on in the world and received up into glory. It's full cycle of the infinitiveness. That's why that image in the in my lesson that I call Hello Bahasham Yahawashi, praise that he let me find it, where you saw the spirit coming up from that earth and going up into, I guess, that dimension of heaven or whatever, and creating that, going towards that singularity. Okay, so if you don't know what that image means, now you know. All right, that image it was inspired by that precept right there. Okay, if you can receive it. Okay, and without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness. Yahweh, or power, was manifest in the flesh, justified in the spirit, seen of angels, preached unto the Gentiles, believed on in the world, and received up into glory. Okay, you can see that, right? Okay. Next, we're going to John. I'm going to stay in the in the New Testament for a minute, y'all. Just stay with me, all right? We're going to go to John chapter 15. All right, go with me, John 15, and I've got 19 on that, right? And it reads, if ye were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. Now, a lot of people translate this in many different ways. Salaki for a second here. All right. Translating this, me and of the world, being in the world, and then the world hateth you, right? If you love the world. Okay. What the Father gave me through Yahawashi, Bahasham, Yahawashi in this was, I want to say something about this, the end portion of this, right? Therefore, the world hateth you. What is this? Who is the world that hates you? Is it the physical earth that hates you? No, it ain't the physical earth that hates you. All right. Is it the world of the nations of specific created entities that hate you? We have a little bit of a point there. But the nations of the world that are created as they are, that are in this world, they have a hatred for a purpose in the world about you because of what? Because of you being chosen by the Most High. So a lot of times they hate Yahweh. So because you're chosen by Yahweh, they hate you because you represent who they hate. Now, why do they hate you? Because they hate him. Well, because they were programmed to go through what they're going through. And because they're programmed to go through that and they can't change that process no matter what, just like it says that Esau cannot make a repentance. So he cried like a baby and whatever, but he can't make a repentance. He was rejected. So because he's rejected, he was rejected before the foundation of the world, not just here in this terra firma, this earth. He was rejected before the foundation of the world because he was made to be rejected. See? So he hates the process that he knows lingers in his mindset that the Father made him for this purpose. I hope you're receiving this. He hates that part because it lingers in the back of his mind, like in his subconscious. Can I say that he knows, some of them know it? I would say yes. A lot of them know it. I would say the super elite that are Edomites that are super elite, any other nations that have super elite entities that, let's just say, are in control of their well-being, they already know because they've been given that understanding. They're not going to reveal it to you, but they've been given that understanding that the Creator made them the way they are, which to them, they can only understand it as he hates them. And because they only understand it as he hates them, they're going to hate you because they know and they can see they can see the salt that you are. They can see the flavor that you bring, which is Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi flavor of something they don't have and they will never have. So they hate the Father for the flavor that you have. So that shows how much they're going to show hate towards you. I was talking about this earlier, about the fact that you should never look to receive ultimate respect in this world if you are of the chosen of the Father, no matter, even if you are a 2/3. You could be the super elite of the chosen, the 144 or the 1/3. But why would you ever think that you should be respected in a world that's given a puppetized control process by Esau, Edom, that the Father controls? You're not built here for or to receive respect. That's why Yahawashi has told us many times that if you serve him and you're in him, that you have to deal with persecution all the time. Why would you ever think that you would not be dealing with that, right? So that portion of this that I had to explain is important because a lot of people don't. Therefore, the world hateth you. So it's different types of worlds that hate you in terms of the difference between Oinkameni, which is the planet, the earth. The earth doesn't hate you. You came from your flesh was formed from it, and your singularity will pull from it to coincide and coagulate everything. But the cosmos, a certain sequence of order that's set forth in nations of people who are created, the system that they understand and how they're being led and what's in them and in their spirit, they hate who put it in them that way. So they're going to hate you because you're a direct representative of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. So naturally they're going to hate you. So understanding that's important. So I had to take time to break that down for you so you understand why you are in the condition you're in, because it was pre-programmed for it to be that way. There was no possible way you could get out of it. So don't look for respect here from the world system of the culture and the nature of the nations that are here that hate the Most High system that he put in them. Don't look for respect from them. Why would you do that? You do better navigating around them by dealing foundational in terms of how you respond. See, if you deal with them foundationally, they can't supersede that in terms of the way they are trying to show you hate. You give foundational answers that put them in a quandary in terms of how they should respond to you. But you have to know how to do that. That's something that's trained in the spirit. Yes, I'm not going to say that apostles and various individuals that have been in this truth for a while cannot aid you in that process, because they can. But you have to request that through YAHAWASH'S. And once you put that mantle out there, if it's within the confines of your predestinated programming that you should receive it, the Father will allow you to be able to learn spiritually how to navigate in a world that is going to disrespect you, because it's the way that they hate the Father and the disrespect that they have towards how he made them. It's like they're not under the law. So why would you expect them to operate in any respect to you? They're not under his law. If they're not under his law, you shoot. Even Israelites who disrespect you, they're blocked spiritually. So if they're blocked spiritually, you can't expect to get respect from them. But if you can operate foundationally in terms of how you respond to them and how you receive what they do to you and do around you and send to you, you can navigate through the disrespect that you're going to have to see and get from them, because this is not your rest. Okay? All right, I did that. That's long enough. I got to get away from that. I got just a couple more precepts to finish. Okay? So that was John 15:19. Now I'm going to Romans. I'm getting ready to wrap it up, y'all. We almost done. So, hang if you can. If you can't, then, go do something else or whatever. Or that's what the Most High going to have you do. All right. Shalaki. Romans chapter 13. All right. We almost there. Romans 13. All right. All right. Romans 13. And I'm going to start at 1. Romans chapter 13 and start at 1. See, all of this, like I said, is all centered around the process and all the symptoms that are building up in the sequences to the singularity that's coming when Yahawashi returns. But you're supposed to be building yourself up to that process, just like we always talk about. You're not getting on a chariot with this body. This has to be processed by Yahawashi, so that what goes on the chariot is the singularity, not this. You ain't taking this on the chariot. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't scheduled to do that. All right. Romans chapter 13. Be subject to government is what they try to say it is, but who controls everything? Yahweh. Okay, so when we know that, keep that foundational state of mind. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. Now, the higher powers are Yahawashi, but people misconstrue this and also say that it's, how you being dealt with in the flesh in the world. But this is true, but the Father controls that too. Okay? For there is no power but of Yahweh, the power that be are ordained by Yahweh. Okay? See, he's telling you he controls it all. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of Yahweh. See, this is why I always say, if you are complaining about how Jake is doing stuff, how Jakeettes are doing stuff, Eve, Adams, or heathens, or anybody, who's making them do it? Who's having them do it? The Father is, through Yahawashi. He's doing it all the time. He don't rest, he don't sleep. So he's telling you, whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of Yahweh, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. You keep getting stuff happening to you, and it affects your mind. When you see Jakes do bugged out stuff and it bothers you, or when you see Eves do bugged out stuff, or when you see heathens or Edomites, anybody, if it really messes you up, then you receiving a form of damnation in your spirit. You should look at it and say, oh, wow. Boy, the Most High is doing that with this person today. Or, oh, damn, look at that. Whoa, look what the Father is doing to this one today. Or to this group, or that group, or whatever. When you can foundationally look at things like that, you can navigate through what you need to do here, and you can stay on track for purification and cleansing towards that with praise, worship, prayer wrapped in repentance. But if you get bugged out when you see it, then you bugging out over what he's doing. I mean, isn't that so obvious? Because he controls it all. It's not that hard to figure that out. Okay. All right. 3, for rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. Mainly, that works for carnality and spirituality, but spirituality really controls the carnality. That's like when you see a person and they say this person is mentally disturbed or mentally crazy. It's spirits, man. They got spirits in them. Who put the spirits in them? Father did. Through Yahawashi and angels, they put the spirits in them. It ain't no, oh, it's a mental disorder. Oh, let's give them some drugs. No. That's just going to make the situation. You're not going to help the situation there. You can't stop the spirit from doing what it do when you give them drugs. You might slow the body down, but you ain't slowing the spirit down. As soon as the body is animated again and back up, the spirit's going to keep doing it. You can already see that to be the case. Okay? 4, for he is the minister of Yahweh to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of Yahweh, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. So again, he is doing all of it. And if he sees it purpose for him to enact his sword through an angel against something that he set in motion to show a lesson, to teach you about how to try to stay on path, to stay focused in terms of navigating through the clues in order to do what the Father needs you to do, he will do that. You can't question why he's done it. He will do it. 5, wherefore ye must needs be subject not only to wrath, but also to conscience sake. Conscious sake. So wrath and conscious sake is important because one is like action reaction. In other words, for every action there's a reaction. So you're going to have a reaction if for wrath comes, and then conscious sake is going to say, why is the wrath coming upon me? What clue did I miss that the Father was giving me an indication of that I slipped on for some reason when I should have been paying attention, and I missed that clue? You know, he's going to direct you. He gives you that unction. That's what you pray for. You pray for that faith and that unction. You can't pray for the more grace because his grace is sufficient, but you can pray for more of the faith in the spirit to get those clues solved, so you don't have to deal with the wrath that he puts out, because he's going to put it out in this world as we go through prophecy. 5, wherefore ye must needs be subject not only for wrath, but for also conscience sake. 6, for this cause pay ye tribute also. Pay attention, pay tribute also, for they are Yahweh's ministers, attending continually upon this very thing. He controls everything. He said, we say what? Father, protect me from the wicked, which is thy sword. Okay, right. 7, render therefore to all their dues, tribute to whom tribute is due, custom to whom custom, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor. In other words, understand he controls all things at all times. That's why I said you don't need to get pissed off and angry at the way and the process that the Most High is doing things, because this is what he does in the way he does it. And we don't get to question that in that manner. Okay, we don't do that. All right, we just need to comply and understand why. Okay, we only got a couple more to go, and then we're gonna be finished. All right. Next, I'm going to Second Corinthians. So I'm still, like I said, I'm in the New Testament. So go with me. I'm going to Second Corinthians. All right. And I got Second Corinthians chapter 12. All right. And I got 9. And he said unto me, my grace is, sufficient, right, for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities than the power of Hamashiach may rest upon me. I'm going to read that one again because it's just talked about. It's what I just went through and explained. And he said unto me, my grace, this is Father's through Yahawashi, is sufficient for thee. My strength is made perfect in weakness, right? Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Hamashiach may rest upon me. Okay? All right? And we're going to go to First Corinthians here. It's nice the way his spirit just brings me right to that. Love it, love it, love it. And that's First Corinthians chapter 8. And I got 5 and 6. Right? And it reads, for though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and lords many, but to us there is but one power, the Father, of whom are all things, and we in him, and one Lord, Yahawashi HaMashiach, by whom are all things, and we by him. Okay? 7. Yeah. All right. Howbeit, there is not even every man that knowledge, for some with conscience of the idol unto this hour eat it as a thing of offering unto an idol, and their conscience being weak is defiled. This is more than just consuming a substance. It's in reference to the fact that idolatry is a led astray process that the Father is using on spiritually blocked people, bringing up the JC name, bringing up the derivatives of the names that we bring up that are associated with the sacred name of the Father and the Son, bringing up the translation and the explanation and teaching through the word, like I said earlier in the commentary, of we all had at some point got an opportunity to learn the Lashuan Quadash, okay, the sacred language, and we practiced that to understand how to say the Father's name Yahweh and the Son's name Yahawashi, and to speak in terms of in the name Bahasham, various other things, Tawada, Shalaki. Why don't we push forward the effort? Why don't the Father allow us to sacrifice to push forward the effort of the Lashuan Quadash just as much as they push forward the English and the Greek? This is something I praise, worship, and pray and ask continually on the Father, because we all took some time to end up learning how to speak as much of the Paleo Hebrew as possible, but we don't seem to put it first. Even in times when we go and we express our introduction to honor the Father, we say Greek first, all praises, English, Latin, Greek, all praises to, then we go into the Lashuan Kodash. It's an observation of activity that the Father, I praise, worship, and pray and ask for understanding in we are adamant about the sacred name, but we're not adamant about pushing forward the Lashuan Kodash first. They can learn it. We don't owe them anything who don't and can't learn it. We don't owe them anything or anyone who he has not predetermined to understand the Lashawan Kodash. We don't owe them anything. We should push this forward. I'll do and try to do my best. I always praise, worship, and pray to the Father in as much I can, in much I learn of the Lashawan Kodash, and sing to him in that. I don't try to sing to him in the other terms if I can. I may put something in there every now and then, but I don't try to do that. I think it's more honorable and respectful to strive for that mark of presenting the Lashawan Kodash along with the sacred name. I think it goes hand in hand. So, I mean, that's kind of the way I see it. And I'm gonna drop off this last thing and say this to you, and then I'm done. I have a Father has me on a mission and a study to look at some things that are important. He said to me, do you know that there's scriptures that are missing from the book that should be there, and why aren't they there? I'm doing some homework on that. 16 missing verses. Matthew 23, verse 14, Matthew chapter 7, verse 16, Matthew chapter 17, verse 21. They're missing. Mark chapter 9, verse 44 and 46, Matthew 18:11, Mark chapter 11:26, and Mark chapter 15:28. They're not there in the book. Why? That should spark some interest to all of us in reference to what we should look for. Matthew 23:14, Mark 7:16, Matthew 17:21, Mark 9:44 and 46, Matthew 18:11, Mark 11:26, Mark 15:28, Luke chapter 17:36, John chapter 5 verse 4, Acts chapter 8:37, Acts chapter 15:34, Acts chapter 24:7, Acts chapter 28:29, and Romans chapter 16:24. They're not in the book. Who took them out? Father obviously controls it all. Why? Doing some homework on this. Don't know what's going to come of it yet in terms of a lesson. Out of the New Testament, we got 7,938 verses. And in the Old Testament, we got 23,144. 23,144 verses. A total of 31,082 verses. Right? Been doing a lot of research on this and work, trying to figure out what the Father wants me to do with it. Don't know just yet. Just giving it to you in an observation. But, again, the clarity of the spiritual singularity of Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi. Kolo Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi. Bahasham Ruchakodash. Water Yahweh. Water Yahweh. Bahasham Yahawashi. Shlaki Yahweh, oh my sins as I cry. Baba Kasha Yahweh, for a power all the time. Barakatha Yahweh, for your mercy all the time. Call Yahweh, Bahasham Yahawashi.